Again, my name is MJ Sardar. I'm a freelance journalist. I'm an educator. I did a deep dive investigation into Mahdi's case for Unicorn Riot last year. And what I found was that Mahdi was framed by the police and the prosecutors. And I'm just going to give a little bit of background about his case. So in January 2010, there was a triple homicide at the Seward Market on Franklin Avenue. And Mahdi Ali was wrongfully arrested, and a year later he was convicted of the crime that he did not commit. And actually, Mahdi's calling in, so you guys will get to hear from him as well. And so we know, again, Mahdi was framed by the police and the prosecutors and Target Corporation. And I'm just going to give a few details about the case, then I'm going to pass it off to other speakers. But the state's witnesses, two of the state's witnesses, were the original suspects in the crime. Abdisalan Ali and Ahmed Ali, who are cousins. They are not related to Mahdi. They are cousins. They were the original suspects in this crime. And they both testified at Mahdi's trial against him, pointing the finger at Mahdi. The problem is the accomplice Ahmed Ali later recanted his statement, saying that Mahdi is actually innocent. That was featured on a Fox 9 News investigation from 2021. We know there's a lot of issues with the case. I documented over 24 issues in my report for Unicorn Riot. One very crucial issue is that the height of the killer does not match Mahdi's height. Mahdi is 5'7", 5'8", with shoes on. The killer in the market when these three people were murdered, and the accomplice both stand around 6 feet, 6'1". So there's a very glaring height discrepancy between Mahdi and the killer. Evidence point to another killer. In fact, Abdisalan Ali, who was the cousin of the accomplice, Ahmed Ali, he actually went to school the day after these killings happened. He told his classmates that he murdered these three people in the market. He knew intimate details of the killings that nobody else knew. Not even Ahmed Ali knew the details of the killing, because Ahmed was in the back of the store when the murders happened. Mahdi Ali does not know the details of the killing like Abdisalan does. Abdisalan also acknowledged at trial that the killer that was captured, this was captured on surveillance video at the Seward Market, was wearing his coat. So you can see the killer committing these crimes. He's wearing Abdisalan's coat. Abdisalan acknowledged that. Police never asked Abdisalan if he actually committed these crimes, yet they absolved him. I combed through the police report several times. If police did ask him, where is it? Why isn't that information made public? Where are the recordings? Where are the notes for their interviews with Abdisalan? And Abdisalan, his family is very connected to the Minneapolis police. He has two brothers who are cops. In fact, one of his brothers right now is the highest ranking commander with the Minneapolis Police Department. His name is Abdurrahman Ali. He's the highest ranking Somali commander, I'm sorry. There are two other witnesses that the state had testified against Mahdi who were informants. One was a paid police informant. The other was a jailhouse snitch. You don't need a law degree to know that incentivized witnesses does not amount to due process. There was a magic blood stain that police allegedly found on Mahdi's pants. The problem with the blood stain is it wasn't discovered until 3 months after police seized the pants from Mahdi's apartment. So the Minneapolis police, they raided Mahdi's home 2 days after the murder. They saw a pair of pants that had blood stain on it. They tested the blood stain. It was Mahdi's blood. They found out that it was an old blood stain and it was not connected to the crime. There was no DNA from Mahdi at the scene of the murders. None of his blood, none of his DNA was found actually at the market. 3 months later, after police seized the pants, they discovered a tiny drop of blood in the cuff of his jeans. The problem with the blood is that it was contaminated with 3 other people's DNA, including a state investigator with the BCA. Other than that, there was absolutely no other evidence that linked Mahdi to this crime. Mahdi believes, and we firmly believe with Mahdi, that police planted the blood on his jeans because Mahdi was going to get exonerated. He was going to walk. They had no evidence against him to try him until in April 2010 they discovered this tiny drop of blood. Target helped fund the investigation. Target had 2 of their forensics investigators testify against Mahdi. If you don't know, the Minneapolis police and several police jurisdictions across the state outsource a lot of their investigations to Target's forensics lab. And also, for decades, since 1990, Target has been funding the Minneapolis Police Department with their Target in Blue program. And since the early 2000s, Target has been funding the Hennepin County Attorney's office. So Target has been funding the Hennepin County Attorney's office on the basis that they secure convictions. This money was attached to a high conviction rate. They wanted to ensure that the county attorney got convictions, not truth, not justice, but convictions. And so on one hand, they're funding convictions. On the other hand, Target is tipping the scales of justice and helping the police and the prosecutors secure these convictions. And Judge Peter Cahill, who presided over Mahdi's trial, formerly worked for the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. He was the number 2 man under Amy Klobuchar for 7 years. He had a working relationship with Target Corporation. He never disclosed his ties to the prosecutor's office or to Target Corporation when this trial happened. So there are several issues with this case. Again, we believe Mahdi is 100% innocent, and our message to folks watching today is that we are not going to keep quiet until Mahdi is released, until Mahdi is exonerated, and until he is home with his family and with his community. And we are going to make sure that we hold accountable the folks who framed him, the police, the prosecutors, and Target Corporation. And so now I want to introduce Michelle Gross. She's going to speak about Mahdi's recent application that was submitted to the CIU. Thank you.
Actually, we've got Mahdi on the line, and I'd like to have him speak first, because his time on the telephone is limited, so we want to make sure that we get him the opportunity to speak. So Mahdi, if you want to go ahead.
I think this is going to amplify it better. Michelle, this is going to amplify it better, and it'll still pick that up.
I want to thank everybody for showing up today, and I want to thank my team for making today possible and putting this together. I want to start out by saying my name is Mahdi Ali, 30-year-old. And I spent the past 15 years and half of my life in prison for a crime which I did not commit. But that's again. And I understand, like, being in prison is not an easy place to be, but it's even twice as difficult when you have to be in here the most influential time of your life, the ages where you are growing, learning, and developing as a human being.
Hang on just a second, Mahdi. Go ahead.
So I want to say I'm innocent. For years I questioned why me, and I went through the stages of questioning everything, and even questioning whether it's worth living. But the only thing that kept me alive is knowing that I'm innocent. Knowing that it would be disservice to me and anyone that's attached to me family-wise, and that to, take my own life away because, they will make it look like that actually I did commit this crime. And people will be like, yeah, Steve, what were we expecting anybody? So my fight, and coming from being it, and it gave me a purpose, give me a sense of purpose of fighting all these years and proclaiming my innocence. And one thing I learned about the world is, like, when you are fighting for something that's true, you find passionate people all across the world who are willing to fight with you. And so that what motivated me to continue fighting. Being innocent is what kept me alive all these years. You know, and so my time in prison, 15 and a half years, I dedicated to giving back my time, teaching, you know, mentoring, being a tutor within the criminal system, and helping other guys graduate along the process. And the reason why that is because all these times that I've been fighting for my innocence, there were so many people that joined me along the process and volunteered their time. So that was my way of giving back to them, you know, and volunteering my own time within the prison system, you know, any facility that I've been in by you know, donating something that's all, you know, education that I learned. And that's what I want to bring to the community. And I want you guys to know I'm one of these guys. I'm someone that could have been anything that I grew up and had an opportunity to, you know, evolve as a man within my community. And I have so much love in me. All that love I have in me is something that I want to give back to my community one day as a free man. And with that being said, please join me and join my team as we fight for justice, my generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahdi. My name is Michelle Gross, MICHELLEGROSS. Beyond being the president of Communities United Against Police Brutality, I'm also a paralegal for my paid work, and I'm the paralegal for Zoroslav Lederman, Mahdi's post-conviction attorney. We recently filed an application with the Conviction Integrity Unit. This is the unit out of the Hennepin County Attorney's Office that is beginning to review cases of actual innocence and problematic convictions. We not only filed this application with the Conviction Integrity Unit, but we recently met with Andrew Marquardt, who heads that unit. We spent our time explaining the irregularities in the case, the problematic information in the case, the fact that there's likely, that we believe strongly that other people are responsible for this crime, and that not only is an innocent man being held, but the community is being harmed, and the families of those 3 men who were killed are being harmed because the wrong person is in prison. And when you have the wrong person in prison, that does not make the community safe, and it does not bring justice to those families. And so this is the reason why we are doing this work. And as I said, we met with Andrew Marquardt, went over the case in great detail, and now we await the review of that case. We don't know a timeline, but we are assured that that office will give it their full attention. And so we're very gratified about that, and that's pretty much the next step in our quest for justice and freedom for Mahdi Ali. Thank you.
And again, I just want to reiterate, Mahdi was framed. Police and prosecutors went out of their way to make connections that didn't exist tying Mahdi to these crimes. And they went out of their way to absolve Abdi Salan and help somebody who was the likely murderer get away. And again, we know Abdi Salan's family is connected to the Minneapolis Police Department. His brother, Abdirahman Ali, is the highest ranking Somali officer with MPD today. And so next up, I'm going to bring up Marcia Howard, who is the president of MFE, teacher chapter and a longtime teacher at Roosevelt High School, and had Mahdi in her classroom. Come on up, Marcia.
Hello, my name is Marcia Howard, and yes, I'm the president of the teacher chapter of Minneapolis Federation of Teachers, Local 59. I represent about 3,500 teachers, but it's the teacher chapter and the educational support professionals who read about the facts of Mahdi's case as they stand after the diligent reporting by one of our members, MJ, and the ardent work by other educators within our union. And they came with a resolution and it passed with both chapters. And the MFT, now MFE 59 member resolution in support of the exoneration and release of Mahdi Ali, is on our website, and it does all the whereases, and it acknowledges the patterns of the prosecutors and the patterns of the MPD that we are all familiar with the Minnesota Department of Human Rights, the federal government, though they have rescinded it, and the state of Minnesota has us under a consent decree for these very reasons. And as you may know, I'm also at George Floyd Square with the 24 demands of Justice Resolution 001, asking to look into these patterns of wrongful convictions and lack of diligence in the way in which things are prosecuted. Mahdi went to Roosevelt, and so did Ahmed Ali. Ahmed sat in my class as well. And it was in 2010, right after winter break, when we got the news that there was a murder at Seward Market, the halal market, and Anwar Muhammad and Muhammad Warfa and Osman Elmi, those three gentlemen lost their lives, and may their memory be a blessing. 3 men lost their lives, and they say if you pick it up, you got to put it down. I had the shock to know that people that I knew, young folks that I taught, may have been involved. And the word on the street that some naughty boys that should have been back in school may have had something to do with it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Mahdi had skipped school that day. But he has consistently claimed he was not there. And upon investigation, they said the assailant was 6 foot tall. That boy is not 6 feet. I'm sorry, he wasn't in. I don't know how tall he has grown since 2010, but he was not 6 feet tall. Ahmed, that cute little child, has recanted his accusation that Mahdi was with him. He has recanted. He has said that Mahdi was not with him. And we have friends, his classmates, who at the time said, yeah, Mahdi, he was the orphan boy. He was the one that didn't have a lot of family. And you know how it is, South Minneapolis, the Somali community. Who your people? Who your people's people? He had been tossed around. He didn't have people to vouch for him. He was the perfect patsy. And that is why he went down the way he did. He didn't have nobody. He didn't even have, I'm gonna be frank, he didn't even have teachers vouching for him. I'm gonna be frank. When I heard, yeah, Mahdi, I could see it. He wasn't in school that day. I was more, come on, Ahmed. I was more, y'all ain't seen me with this because of that. I was ashamed. Because in 2010, a lot of people gave up on him. and just accept it. Just accepted it at face value. They accepted it at face value because he didn't have nobody. They threw that boy's whole life away. They gave him 30 consecutive sentences.
That's right.
And everybody involved that could say, actually, it really wasn't him, said, actually, it really wasn't him. And yet he's still sitting in jail. At 38 in Chicago, when we put in the 24 demands, number 4, Mayan Burrell might have got wrongfully convicted under Amy Klobuchar. And the AP had done an exhaustive 3-year report. Even Amy Klobuchar, former prosecutor turned senator, said, yeah, you might want to look into it. She ain't got no shame. And he was released. Who is it that can put their pride aside and say, yeah, we can look back at this case? It's just not fair, y'all. You can't just throw a person's life away. You just can't. I have dedicated 26 years of my life in education, and we're trying to build people up. And I cannot imagine that we look at a row, 7 rows of 5 desks, and I go any, mini, miny, mo, which one am I gonna just throw away? On a whim, just because we have to have a collar, just because we have to say, we got somebody, community, and we let the wrong person walk away and get away with murder. And so, my name is Marcia Howard. I'm a teacher from Roosevelt High School, and I'm the president of MFE Local 59, and I'm saying out loud, free Mahdi Ali.
Thank you, Marcia. Again, Mahdi Ali is 100% innocent. We know this because Mahdi was 2 miles away at the Riverside University Hospital picking up his friend. And there was surveillance video of Mahdi picking up his friend precisely at the time when the murders happened. Suspiciously, MPD never secured the video of Mahdi at the hospital 2 miles away at the time these murders went down, picking up his friend. And next up, we have another one of Mahdi's former teachers, Brenda Johnson. She's an assistant educator at Stadium View. She met Mahdi in JDC shortly after he was arrested. Come on up, Brenda.
Thank you. Our faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Yes, I'm an educator of 30 years. In about 2 blocks away is the Hennepin County Juvenile Detention Center. There is a school inside of the Hennepin County Detention Center. I have seen it over and over and over again. This time, I'm going to stand strong. What I know about Mahdi, when I met him in 2010, is that he was a kid that came from Kenya, and he was trafficked from Kenya. Just like my colleague said, that he didn't have anybody. But what we did as a specialist, a transition specialist in the Juvenile Detention Center, we wanted him not only to concentrate on the academic part of it, but we wanted him to concentrate on the social and emotional learning. Well, I asked the question once again, the school to prison pipeline is perpetrated over and over and over again at that facility there. And I'm going to say it. And so one of the things that we did, we met with Mahdi every day one-on-one. We have something called hope. So we wanted to reinstill that hopeful refrain that no matter what and how bleak the outcome would be, is that he would get his high school diploma, and then he would go on and go to a trade school. And guess what? Mahdi has his high school diploma. Yeah, and Mahdi also has a paralegal certificate. As I spoke with him the other day, he said, I'm not done yet. He said, when this is over, I want to come home and I want to give back to what someone gave to me. And I see each and every kid that comes through our facility that there is hope. And we have to continue to interrupt the school to prison pipeline. Black and brown kids are going to prison faster than any other kid in this area, and nationally too. And so what I say today is that this movement is only the start of something big. 2010, this kid has been in jail for 15 years. He is now 30 years old, the same age as my son. So what we did, I asked him to read some books, because if you continue to become an avid reader, you would free your mind in the bounds of incarceration. He did. He read the book, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for over 27 years. And Mahdi found a way to free his mind. So hope was stifled, right? But he was not broken. He's resilient, he's powerful. He went in as a little boy of 15 years old, and now he's a man. And so what I say, family right here, that we get behind him, because he's coming home. Let's say his name. Mahdi! Let's say his name. Mahdi! Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Again, I want to give a shout out to everybody who joined us today. I forgot to shout out earlier, we have the organizers from the Target boycott here with us, and they're going to say a few words in support, in solidarity of Mahdi Ali. We have Monique Colors Doty, the founder of Black Lives Matter, who's with us. And we also have Nikema Levy Armstrong, the founder of the Racial Justice Network, here standing in solidarity. I'm going to ask Monique to come up first and say a few words.
First, I want to thank everyone who came out here today to stand with us in solidarity, to raise our voices in support of Mahdi. I also want to thank the media that's out here. It is important that your role in society, that you have opportunities to really shift and change what is happening and how cases are being perceived by the public. And we really do need Mahdi to have the public support, and we need the truth to come out. And I know oftentimes that media and journalists are caught between a rock and a hard place. They want to be able to get the stories from the police. They want to get the stories and the inside scoop from the prosecutor. But at some point, we just have to stand on truth and call out what has happened here and the atrocities of the Hennepin County Prosecutor's Office when Amy Klobuchar and Mike Freeman as well were in those offices. And it is estimated that there are 200 people still wrongfully incarcerated from what I call their reign of terror as Hennepin County prosecutors, when the incarceration rate was raised by 600% for black boys and girls. For black boys and black men. And it has to be corrected. It has to be addressed, and it has to have the light shown on it. So I'm calling on you as journalists, shine the light on this case, because there are so many others. And so what we did, as I'm a member of Free Mahdi Ali, that working group and committee, and when I came in, a lot of the research had already been done. I also want to give a shout out and thank Unicorn Riot for the work that they've done on exposing this case and all the truth. And we have so many people that say, oh, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, and we know sometimes they're not. But I put my name and my reputation on this as the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Minnesota and co-founder of Black Lives Matter Twin Cities Metro, that Mahdi Ali is innocent, and Mahdi Ali needs to be free, and Mahdi Ali needs to be compensated for the trauma and the atrocity, for the time that he has lost in society and his freedom. It's not enough to let someone free and not clearly and fully exonerate them. It's not enough to just say, oh, I think he served enough time, we're going to let him out. No, we have to right the wrong, we have to repair the record, and that's what needs to happen here. And as we're talking about records, we need to expose that Target had funded the Amy Klobuchar's office and Mike Freeman's office. They supplied the expert witness, who actually wasn't really an expert witness. So if you're supplying someone who's going to testify on behalf of the prosecution and you're paying the office of the prosecution, that's a conflict of interest. And Target as well needs to be held accountable for that. And so while I'm so proud of the work that we've done, and we started the National Target boycott right here in downtown Minneapolis, this boycott does not end until Mahdi Ali is free and the other demands are met. It is that important. We need Mahdi Ali's name shared and his story told across the country. And the shame of the evils that have happened right here in this courthouse need to be exposed. And Amy Klobuchar needs to come up out of her office and be held accountable. And Mike Freeman has slithered off into the woodwork somewhere. But we know that also for someone who could look at the George Floyd tapes and say, I don't see a chargeable offense, every case that he touched needs to be looked at again involving a black man or black boy. It is time that Mayor Frey step in and take a look at this as well. He cannot sit in that position up on his high horse above what's happening now. There needs to be accountability for this and all these other things that have happened, all these people that are there. And the mayor of Minneapolis, you need to step up and do something about this as well. Because we know when George Floyd was killed, a black man, somehow he remained in office, but when Justine DeMond, a white woman, was killed, all of a sudden the police chief was gone, right? So we're saying that Black Lives Matter. I'm saying it every day. All Black Lives Matter. Mahdi Ali's lives matter. Justice, then peace, in honor of Mel Reeves. Thank you.
Thank you, Monique. So again, America's retail darling, Target Corporation, helped frame an innocent kid. They had 2 forensic investigators testify against Mahdi. One of the guys said that Mahdi's height was close to the killer in the store that was captured on surveillance video. The problem is Mahdi's nearly a half a foot shorter than the accomplice and the killer. So how is this guy expert? Another one of Target's investigators testified and said that that the jeans that the police confiscated were similar to the jeans worn by the killer. Under cross-examination, the same guy acknowledged that he can't even tell the color of the jeans. He can only tell if they're light or dark. Again, Target Corporation needs to be held accountable. They helped fund the investigation. They have funded the prosecutor and the police department for decades. And next up, I want to invite Nakima Levy-Armstrong, civil rights attorney, activist, and founder of the Racial Justice Network, to come and say a few words in solidarity with Mahdi Ali.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I stand in solidarity with the people behind me and those who could not make it today in calling for Mahdi Ali to be freed from an unjust incarceration. You all have heard the atrocities from our comrades here that have happened over the years when Mike Freeman and Amy Klobuchar were the Hennepin County attorneys. And the reality is that our city and our county and our state are guilty of sweeping these injustices under the rug and pretending that these things didn't happen. Even though we just celebrated 5 years of our community and the world rising up to demand justice for George Floyd, it's clear that our city, our county, and our state would rather move on as if that didn't happen. But there are so many people, as was indicated earlier, close to 200 people, still incarcerated as a result of the indifference and the behavior and the decision-making of Amy Klobuchar, Mike Freeman, as well as the Minneapolis Police Department, the City Council, and the mayors who were in position at that time. We have repeatedly asked for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, similar to what happened in South Africa under the apartheid regime. It's not enough for us to call out the injustices and to move on with business as usual. We have to go back and collect the stories. We have to be honest about the roles of the decision makers in cases like Mahdi Ali's. And we need to hold these people accountable as well as compensate the Black community and specifically the victims of the terrorism that was inflicted upon our community by law enforcement and those in the county attorney's office. As you have heard people say repeatedly, Mahdi Ali is innocent. He should have been free from day one when he was literally just a child trying to navigate his life in this world. and as was stated earlier, without family and adequate community support. That should not have led to him facing potentially decades behind bars for a crime he did not commit. And the sad part is, if you go into our prisons today and you talk to the black men who are incarcerated, many of them have very similar stories as Mahdi Ali. And they too need to be free. We know that the county attorney's office here in Hennepin is undertaking new initiatives to address some of the long-standing injustices, but we also know that Attorney General Keith Ellison has the power to correct and remedy some of these issues as well. He too has established a conviction integrity unit, and we have still seen them be as slow as molasses when it comes to investigating cases and freeing those who are unjustly incarcerated. The reality is that there needs to be a reckoning in our community and in our state to undo some of these harms that have been caused, to ensure that there is accountability, and to ensure that, to the extent possible, the people who have been victimized like Mahdi Ali are made whole. And as was indicated earlier, Target's hands are not clean in this. Even though Target is considered a beloved corporation by many in Minnesota and around this country, the reality is that they have done so much dirt over the years that they thought they got away with. And they thought they got away with it until you had people here who fought for justice for George Floyd and other victims of police violence to rise up and, as Monique said, declare a nationwide boycott against Target that began on February 1st. We will not let them erase the narrative. We won't let a pastor in Atlanta erase the narrative. People right here who saw the injustices that happened to people in our community, who see the hypocrisy of Target Corporation and the harm that they have done, are the folks who rose up with the moral authority to declare that they will be held accountable. The CEO of Target and their board and their shareholders need to get behind this initiative and do right by Mahdi Ali, as well as the other victims that they helped bring into the criminal justice system, not just through funding, but demanding convictions. What does a corporation have to do with what is happening inside the county attorney's office that has nothing to do with their corporation? They were very comfortable being a part of this abuse that young black men and older black men have been impacted by in Hennepin County and the state of Minnesota. So we are demanding that Mahdi Ali be set free. We are demanding an investigation regarding all of the people who have been unjustly incarcerated as a result of the actions of Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman and Hennepin County Attorney Amy Klobuchar. No, I'm not calling her a congresswoman because she was the Hennepin County Attorney when all of this happened. So we need to quit pretending and being Minnesota nice and wanting to uplift people as heroes who are responsible for these injustices and atrocities that have happened to some of our most vulnerable people within this community. Free Mahdi Ali. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nakima. Again, we are not going to be quiet until Mahdi Ali is free. Free Mahdi Ali! Free Mahdi Ali! Free Mahdi Ali! Free Mahdi Ali! Our last speaker is Marvina Haynes. She is the president of the Minnesota Wrongfully Convicted Judicial Reform, an activist and the sister of Marvin Haynes, who was wrongfully convicted. Marvina, come on up.
Hello everyone, and thank you all so much for being here. My name is Marvina Haynes. I am the founder of Minnesota Wrongfully Convicted Judicial Reform. I'm also the sister of Marvin Haynes, who's also spent 20 years of his life in prison for a crime that evidence showed that he didn't commit. When I first spoke with Mahdi Ali, when I first started to do this work, I thought that my family was the only family that had been affected by this work, because we had been taught that the system is supposed to love and protect and investigate these type of cases, and this stuff just doesn't happen. As I started to do the work, I found out that it didn't only happen to my family. I ran into Mayan's Burrell family over again, Mahdi Ali family, and so many other families who are still fighting this injustice. When we started to work closely with Mahdi Ali, the disadvantage that Mahdi didn't have was he didn't have family. He was trafficked here and then put involved in the system with no support, with not even knowing what was happening. We have seen this happen time after time after time after time. When are we going to do a real investigation into what took place right here at Hennepin County? As some of my friends who are standing here talked about, we estimate that it's 200 more people in prison, Minnesota prison, who are wrongfully incarcerated. The prison system went up 600%. And we continue to let Amy Klobuchar, a person that we have seen cases come out, people are being released because their cases have been looked at and they are found to have malicious representation, false identification, and the list goes on. And the eyewitness, the same thing happened with my brother case. They said that he was this tall, but really he was shorter than that, and they even swiped the picture out to make him fit the narrative. When are we going to start investigating this stuff ourselves? We cannot rely on Hennepin County. They have showed us that. We have to start looking into these cases ourselves, not running with the media narrative, because the media painted all of these people out to be a killer, a malicious person that hurt and harmed the community, and they got sent to prison. When they got sent to prison, the crime was never solved, so that didn't bring relief for our family or their family. And now you have folks saying that they don't even want to reinvestigate the Sheriff family's case, but I thought murder has no time or limitation. Can anyone explain to me why don't their family get justice? We want these families to get real justice. We want the actually killers of the cases to have their time in court, their day in court. And we want Mahdi Ali released immediately. Mahdi is innocent. He was kidnapped as a kid, and we're not standing for that. And we won't stop until he's released. Free Mahdi Ali. 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 Thank you.
At this time, we'll be going upstairs to the office of Mary Moriarty, the Hennepin County Attorney, to present the Minnesota Federation of Educators resolution. So we'll be going in now to do that. And do you have any questions for us before we go? We have a resolution on paper, and of course we also have it digitally as well, but we do have it on paper. Yes.
It's this,
Okay.
and you can find it, I believe, at it's still MFT, Minneapolis Federation of Teachers Local 59 webpage, MFT59.org, our latest resolution for us.
That'll also be on freebodyali.com later today as well.
Exactly. Do we have other questions? Again, we submitted his application about 2 weeks ago. We met with Andrew Marquardt, the head of the Conviction Integrity Unit, about that same time period. And we don't know what their timeline is. They tell us that it might take a while, and that's fine. We're patient people, but we're not going to tolerate him remaining in prison forever and ever and ever. Hopefully it will be a matter of months.
But that formal request is in, the process started.
Yes, that's correct. The formal request is in, and we again met with him in order to lay out the issues of it. There was a formal agreement made between his attorney and the Conviction Integrity Unit to allow us to share information with them and for them to share information with us. So all of the pieces are in place now for a proper investigation into this matter.
And that investigation, then, does that ensure that it does happen? We just don't know when.
We've been assured that there will be an investigation, that they are reviewing the case. We just don't know what the timeline is at this point. You know, we have to give them some time because it's a complex case with many pieces. And with witnesses that need to be located and things like that. So there will be some time involved, but we have been assured that there is an investigation ongoing.
What do you think the significance or weight of presenting this resolution is?
Part of what's important in any of these cases is for people to support an individual coming back into the community. You know, yes, people that are provably innocent should be released. But we also need to build support for within the community, so once that person is released, you know, we can make sure that we have loving arms waiting to welcome that person back in and help them find their role in the community. And so I think this resolution helps with that. I want to actually let other people answer that question, though.
I just wanted to say, we know as community members, as activists, that innocence is not enough to free somebody like Mahdi Ali in his situation. He needs broad support. He needs community behind him. He needs a union of teachers that represent the school and the district that he belonged to. So I teach at South High School. Mahdi Ali was actually a student at South High School when he was arrested and wrongfully convicted. He would have graduated that summer that he was convicted. And so we know that authorities, especially when it comes to the authorities who actually framed him and set him up, they're going to listen when there's a community of adults behind him that are demanding his release.
I just want to add real quick, and then I'm going to turn this over to Rasha, that there is a real energy in any kind of conviction to keep it that way. There's an energy to maintain the conviction and to save face of the people that were involved in it. And so the only way we can break that is to have community pressure. In the case of Mayan Burrell, they tried their best to hang on to Mayan despite all evidence to the contrary, and it took the community actually shutting down Amy Klobuchar's presidential campaign rally in St. Louis Park to finally get her to pay enough attention to this case that we were able to get him free. It took that. It does take pressure from the community. We cannot just, these things, innocence alone is not enough to do it.
I think your question was, how much weight does a resolution? I jokingly call, to a lot of my colleagues' chagrin, folks who just write resolutions, resolutionaries. But as people who know me from being in an occupation for the last 5 years at George Floyd Square, revolutionary activities like occupying city streets is not beyond my purview as well. But in the same time, in between time, we also do the work, whether it is legally, whether it is legislatively. I am also the president of one of the most renowned teachers union in the Midwest. I'm the vice president of the MRLF. I'm on the governing board of AFL-CIO. Labor is also behind the burgeoning, let's say, defense force of constitutionalists. And right now we are going to be in a fight in 2025 between what is right and what is status quo. And I'm declaring that in these moments, y'all need to decide which side you're going to be on. So whether or not it's pen to paper and a vote of a board and your members, or if it's just that moral idea of what is right and what is wrong. When we forged Justice Resolution 001, the 24 demands of George Floyd Square, let me talk to you. I stood right here and I didn't know this woman from a can of paint, Nakima, who was saying something about a Mike Freeman. Thank you very much. And we said, recall Mike Freeman, because this community in Minneapolis is just basically, the Twin Cities is just two towns in a trench coat pretending it's a metropolitan area. And so we understood that Mike Freeman was a problem. And then when you looked even further, then number 5 of the 24 demands was investigate all of these cases that he was involved in and Amy Klobuchar was involved in. Number 4 was investigate the conviction of Mahdi Ali. Now, I can say this now because it's been 5 years. During COVID, in my backyard in George Floyd Square, it was me, some community members, and our then AG, somebody on the horn. It was a judge, the AG, and a judge, and us. Now, look, the judge, the governor, the AG, that's who could overturn a conviction. One of them 3 recused himself. But by that December, Mayan walked free, did he not? Did he not? Demand number 4, checked off. It can happen, y'all. It can happen. So we need to know whether or not people have the temerity, the audacity of faith in our moral authority. And I mean our moral authority as the Twin Cities. Will we allow a 15-year-old, now 30-year-old, to spend the remainder of his existence in prison for a crime that all evidence points that he did not commit, in order to save whose pride? In order to save whose pride? I'm telling you right now, the boy was not 6 feet tall when he was 15. When you walk into the Seward Market, ding, ding, the bell rings, what's right there on the door? The height. He was not 6 feet tall. Well, I'm on one. Let me. Free Mahdi Ali. Free Mahdi Ali.